Hi there and welcome to Sell, Serve, Prosper Radio. I'm your host Leigh and I'm here to share with you insights into my own Sell, Serve and Prosper journey and the lessons and the insights that I get working with my clients to help them sell more, serve more and prosper more. Whether you're an entrepreneur working for yourself or you're an intrapreneur working in a company, you want success and prosperity for yourself, your customers and the people you care about. So in these episodes, I share with you interviews, inspiration and practical insights to help you with the real-life science and success of service-based selling, persuasion, influence, management and leadership. Sell, Serve, Prosper Radio is dedicated to helping you and those people you care about optimize your personal and your business potential. I want to help you sell more, serve more and prosper more. So if you want some more tools and support to help you sell more, serve more and prosper more, go to sellserveprosper.com.
Sell, Serve, Prosper Radio with Leigh Farnell.
Well, here we are in Vision Villas in Bali, Fire Pavilion, the Blaze Energy, and I'm with Matt Kreinheder from the US. Matt and I have met over the last couple of days, and Matt, you can tell them about your business because I know you are committed in a very serious way to helping entrepreneurs sell more, serve more, prosper more, but you've got a very interesting and deeper understanding of prosperity probably than me. So Matt, please introduce yourself to our listeners of Sell, Serve, Prosper Radio.
Hi, thanks so much. Yeah, my name is Dr. Matt Kreinheder. My background is in healing, chiropractic and acupuncture, but also have background before that in large retail management, running music stores. My focus over the last really decade or 15 years has been understanding people and understanding, from both a health and personal development perspective, how they get messed up and how they fix that. So in that understanding people, I've looked at a lot of different developmental models like integral theory and spiral dynamics, lots on science and neuroscience, lots of different areas to really help and see how people make change and rapid change. And over the past really 10 years, I've found that the most people who are attracted into that type of work were entrepreneurs. So I started working with entrepreneurs in my healing practice, and then coaching entrepreneurs one-to-one and really helping them with the inner work and the inner blocks that hold them back from experiencing more abundance, more transformation, more growth in their business. And over the last year have launched a mastermind specifically to do that, both the inner work and the outer work, so that they can form a business that's really, truly, it feels like home for them. It feels like it's aligned to the truth of who they are and what they want to be doing and changing in the world.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'm sitting here going, the Americans are so articulate, aren't they? The rest of us just start to feel like we're bumbling around with the English language after hearing that. But Matt, that's fantastic. And I love that idea of inner work and outer work because that's such a unique combination. And if we talk about sell more, serve more, prosper more, we say, the first sell of the day is what are you doing in terms of selling and serving yourself?
Yeah.
And not whether it be the story you're selling yourself, but there's also the service in terms of the mind, body, spirit service, because how can you serve others if you're not serving yourself?
Yeah.
So give me some case studies or examples of people that have worked with you and what it was like when they first came to you and what's gone on in terms of breakthroughs.
Yeah, great. So just a couple examples that come to the top of my mind. I had a client who was offering group program coaching, and what she was finding was that she was really nervous about growing a team and stepping up what she was able to do into a larger context. She was moving into a train-the-trainer model, and she also needed to generate more cash flow and able to float the team. So after working together, we identified some of the triggers that were actually happening in her body, some of the emotional, energetic, kind of mental stuff that was going on. And by helping her sit through those triggers, what she found is that she had a whole group of people who wanted to do VIP one-on-one, and she charged $40K for 6 months for that, and that was able to fund her bringing a team on board and growing her business to the next level. So that kind of stuff is pretty regular. I also had another client who was just really resistant to what she thought was going to be doing even more work in the next scale of her business in the next growth cycle. And what she found is that when she stopped looking at it as work and looking at it as something that was really exciting for her and really able to help her step in and serve more, she set up a 3-day event and ended up selling $100K off the back end to therapists and psychologists. So all this inner stuff is like really cool way to move through all that inner material that's holding us back from really stepping into what has to happen next.
Wow. Well, years ago I was exposed to the NLP world, and not that I'm a master practitioner, but all the guys I was working with were, and we immersed in it. And that whole, as you say, the inner world creates the outer world. And you can see one of the reasons I do what I do is, I suppose, at the more superficial level, so we could go through our whole education and not 1 minute is spent talking about the sales process. How do I have a conversation with someone, discover their needs, check if we can be a good fit or not, and at the end of it, the person says either yes, we're doing business, and money is transferred. None of that is discussed in any of our education.
Right.
In any formal way, let alone what you're talking about, where at a deeper level of, your inner conditioning, your inner world programming that, as I say, what did Auntie, in my case, Auntie Norma or Mum or Dad or the lady next door or your footy coach or your priest or your swimming coach, all of these people have shaped you in one way or another.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that the thoughts that run between your ears, you actually think are true.
Totally.
So when you're working with people, how do you get into that inner world?
Yeah, so a couple of different ways. So if this isn't weird enough for your listeners already, I'll take it just a little more weird.
Let's spin them out.
So the other thing is I've got 20 years maybe of meditation practice. So one of the things that I've recognized in my meditation practice is that there's all these sensations that arise in the body. There's all these feelings that the body has. And usually these are really subtle responses to fear, really subtle responses to anxiety or shame or guilt. And if we're not catching these hold us all back. So between that, me discovering that in myself and working with a lot of people, in healing work that have had that experience as well, what I know is as soon as I'm sitting with someone and I feel connected with them, and then that connection drops out, I know that they're having a response in their body.
Right.
I know that they're having an emotional trigger to one of the questions that I asked them. So in that moment, I'll just stop, help them experience or notice what's happening in their body and their emotions. And they get to start to learn that there's so much data coming from what's happening in the body. So that starts to get to be really useful for them, and they get to start to learn that process for when they're selling out in the world.
Right, wow. Because as you say, there's all this unconscious stuff going on. Literally, even this morning, Joe Formosa, the health dynamics person, we were at the pool, and she checks my pulse, and she starts telling me all these things that she can feel from my pulse. I'm going, whoa, what? And the other day, my shoulder was hurt from water polo, and she did some kind of, I don't know what it was called, some kind of mumbo-jumbo thingo. But her capacity to tune in on all these things that are going on in me, and I go, actually, you're right, that is happening. But it's all your brain at a consciously, you're not even aware of it, but it's all happening below the surface, which, of course, in NLP terms, they say, the mind is like an iceberg. The conscious mind is the tip of the iceberg, and the subconscious is below the water.
Yeah.
And, the bulk of the thinking, the bulk of the decision-making goes on below the water that we're not even aware of. So you're helping people become conscious of those super important unconscious, subconscious emotions and thoughts that are going on. Is that what's happening?
Absolutely, yeah. And really, I would say that the body is the subconscious mind. All those things that are happening in the subconscious, if you're noticing what's happening in your body, you'll start to notice sensations or feelings or stuff that you may not have been tracking before that's really giving a lot of data. And I always tell my clients that there's 4 primary data streams. We focus so much on the mind, and there's a lot that's happening there, but there's body information, there's emotional information, information, the mind, of course, and then if you're connected to spiritual stuff, there's all the spiritual information too. So the more we can be connected to those 4 data streams, the more information we can have in the whole sales process and service process.
Wow. So Matt, do you have books, you have blogs, how do people get in touch with what you're doing? Because it sounds so fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah. drmatk.com is the website. If you're interested in things on a little bit more the spiritual side, I have a book called Awakening the Mystics. And it's really about helping people who are spiritual figure out how they want to be leveraging that spirituality out in the world to do good.
Whoa. Good. Wow. That's fantastic, Matt. Look, thank you so much. Is there anything that I haven't asked you would have liked me to ask you in this podcast?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is just like how fulfilling service can be when we're aware of what's holding us back and then we move through it. The service is so satisfying, and then it just turns into money on the back end of that. And I think if we can hold that perspective, it's just a much more benevolent process in sales.
Yes, well, and you're right. That's why I talk about service-based selling.
I love it.
Service-based selling. They come from a position of service. And even the other day, I was talking with a group of real estate guys, and I said, look, it's not just about selling bricks and mortar and you guys getting a commission check. When someone buys one of these apartments, you are transforming their lives. Yeah. You know, they're about to step into a beautiful new home with beautiful views and beautiful location. You've just transformed their life. That's what they're buying, and so that's the position of service you want to come from, because again, in terms of unconscious communication, if they're going, I've got to make this sale because I've got to hit my budget and I've got to move these bricks because the boss is going crazy, the investors need the money, and I've got to make a car payment, one way or another, that unconscious communication goes through the ether, doesn't it? I mean, I don't understand how it does it. I mean, NLP talks about state is contagious. It's certainly that emotional state. But if I come from a position of, I want to help you transform your life. Yeah. I want to help you live in this beautiful place and enjoy it with your family and your grandkids and and have your friends around. Like, hold that thought. It's a completely different. It's not selling. It's a life transformation that's going on, isn't it?
It sure is. Totally accurate.
It sounds like you're certainly doing that, Matt. So thank you so much for being on our Sell, Serve, Prosper podcast. And let's stay in touch, because you've certainly got me. Yesterday in the session that we ran, when Roger said, Leigh, it looks like you're the block. You're the blockage. It was, oh boy, because I've been around for 2 years, and he's right. And so when you're talking blockage, I get it, and I think that's why I say every athlete needs a coach, including the coach needing a coach. Because if we're going to be of more service and impact more lives, as you say, we need to keep releasing the handbrakes and unblocking the blockages. Yeah. So you've got me thinking. So thank you so much, Matt.
My pleasure. Okay. Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Very enjoyable.
Yeah, likewise.
Start a sales revolution in your business. SellServeProsper.com.
Hi there, Leigh Farnell here. Let me ask you a question. How healthy is your sales process? Is it in need of help? Is it in need of rescue? A sales SOS. If you're not getting enough sales, you're not getting enough leads, you're not getting enough conversions, you're selling on price, if your people are struggling, if you've got too high a staff turnover, if you're pulling hair out or you've got no hair to even pull out, like me, then do take advantage of our free sales assessment. Listen to the SOS. It's valued at $697. We're going to review your sales system, give you a report, go through the 10 Ps that we look at, everything from prospecting, promotion, positioning, pitch. I mean, there's 10 key areas you really do need to look at. We call them the 10 Ps, and get your sales process out of SOS. We want to help you turn your sales around, make what you're worth. It's limited to the first 15 companies only, and it's only really for existing businesses. It can't just be for startup or don't even have a customer. If you've got a sales team, you've got an existing business, but you're struggling, then let's turn it around, listen to the SOS, and rescue your sales process, and rescue your cash flow, and rescue your business, and help it realize its full potential. Valued at $697. You're going to love it. People do love it. People are getting so much value out of it, but limited to the first 15 companies opportunities this month. Apply now, sellserveprosper.com. It only takes 10 minutes at the most. Sellserveprosper.com, and let's help your sales process thrive. Sellserveprosper.com. Take action now.
If you work the system will work for you. The CZ6 Color Zone Selling System. Get your free 6-week challenge now at www.sellserveprosper.com.